Well, greetings and salutations, test takers. This is the Series 7 Guru coming to you from my off-grid studio, getting our kicks on historic Route 66 with an explication request. This is from our Facebook group, the Baby Brokers Doing Hat Tricks. Baby Broker is a term of endearment in the securities industry for rookies. Hat trick is three successes in a row, SIE 766. This is QID 1559318. We'll help you with any question you would like explicated. You can send that to explication request at guruexamprep.com. If it's a Kaplan question, you can just send me the QID because I have access to that backstage. If you don't have a Kaplan Q Bank as a paid supplement, I highly recommend it. With my Guru 15 discount code at checkout, you can get the Kaplan Q Bank for $55.80. That's 3,600 practice questions or performance opportunities. All right, let's look at today's request. A corporation's income statement reports net income of 10 million. The company has 1 million shares of 4% $50 par value stock. Oh my goodness. So that's the first trick here. So let's just figure out what that preferred stock pays. I think this is kind of something I think has very, very low probability on your exam, but you certainly should know that par value is $100 unless otherwise stipulated. So, and you should definitely know you can't pay a dividend to common if you're in arrears to your preferred stockholders. So let's just see how much they owe there. 50 times 4%. I'm using the same calculator they give you at the test. So that's going to be $2 on the preferred. And we should definitely know we got to pay the preferred stockholders before we can pay a dividend to common. It says there's 1 million shares there. So let's just put that there. Let's see. So that's going to be 2 million that we're going to pay to our preferred shareholders. And so that means we have of our 10 million, that was our income statement, right? 10 million. We just paid out 2 million to the preferred. You cannot pay a dividend to common if you're in arrears to the preferred stockholders. And so it looks like here, boom, let's put that in red. It looks like we have 8 million in earnings available to common. Now let's put that there. Boom. Let's get this going here. Okay. And boom. By the way, a lot of work in this one question, right? And who knows if the work I'm doing is going to be productive, but that's what I'm just doing how I would do it as a test taker. As I always say, inch by inch, the exam is a cinch. Okay, so now it tells us we have 2 million shares of common stock. Okay, so now what we're going to do is figure out what the earnings per share are. So we have $8 million and we have 2 million shares outstanding. So let's just divide that by the 2 million shares outstanding. Boom, boom, boom. Let's put this on a different color. And we find out that our earnings per share is $4. We call it EPS. Okay, so now it says the corporation pays a quarterly dividend of 60 cents. So that's going to be 60 cents quarterly, but that means times 4 that we're paying an annual dividend of 240. Right, so that's our annual dividend. Yeah, we associate dividends with mature, stable businesses. And so here, that's going to be, well, let's just see how much that is. We're going to figure out how much of that, boom, times 2 million shares. Boom, 240 times 2 million shares. That's 4 million 8 that we're paying in dividends, 4 million 8. So kind of interesting, what we call that, the difference between the 4.8 and the 8 million is retained earnings. What is that? Whatever that is, minus 8. What we don't distribute as a dividend is called retained earnings. All right, so now we're back in business. So the last step we got to do here is take the 240. I always joke, if you can't decide what to do on the exam, always divide. I'm doing you a favor to cover every key on your calculator except the divide key. And if you can't decide what to divide, take the first number divided by the second number. So we paid out of our $4 in earnings, we paid out $2.40. We kept, or of the $4 in earnings. And so now we can figure out how much we paid out of that. So let's see here. Get my calculator. 2.40 divide by 4. Looks like we have a dividend ratio, payout ratio of 60 cents of every dollar, or 60%. So it looks like our answer here is choice A. The dividend payout ratio was 60%. I think that's a tough one. I wouldn't beat yourself up on that one. There are easier questions to pick cherries, right? This is kind of a pit, but the answer to that question is A. The retained earnings increased by 6.8. That's not true. Let's see, 8 million minus what we distributed to our shareholders, which was 4.8. Boom. The retained earnings went up 3,200,000. So B is wrong. The earnings per share was 5. We just demonstrated that's not correct. But I guess if you missed this, maybe it's because you didn't take the preferred stock, right? You got to pay the preferred stockholder. So if you missed that part of this equation that we're sending 2 million to the preferred, because remember, that's what it means. They have preferential treatment in dividends and liquidation. The current return on the preferred stock is 4%. Well, we don't know that because we don't know what the current market price of the preferred is. So anyways, I hope you found that helpful. Remember, inch by inch, your Series 7 is inch, yard by yard. Your Series 7 is hard, and I'll see you for the next explication request.